Classical liberalism was invented in Western Europe as a response to the religious conflicts that had plagued the continent since the late Middle Ages. The basic rationale was that if government and politics basically stayed neutral on religious issues, then the conflict would come to an end. This is the reason why America was founded without a state church, for example. Over time, liberalism was able to slowly bring the religious wars to an end. Besides that, liberalism also ushered in a new era of respect for free speech, freedom of conscience, pluralism in ideas and worldviews, and scientific discovery. It is arguably one of the most effective philosophies the West has ever come up with. While the religious wars are long gone, old habits die hard in every culture. What the religious wars showed us was that in Western culture, issues of right and wrong are often settled by conflict rather than consensus. Compared with most other cultures on Earth, the West is much more prone to society-wide philosophical conflicts. Let's face it, this history, plus the individualistic nature of the West, means that we aren't going to become a consensus society anytime soon. If the arguments and conflicts aren't fought over religion, then they are likely to be fought over other grounds. This is why in an era where people are less religious than before, the cultural wars have replaced the religious wars. While the religious wars were cured by liberalism and its separation of church and state, this model of neutrality has not yet been fully extended to other non-theological conflicts. This has effectively allowed the politicized religious wars of the past to be reborn as politicized culture wars. The woke postmodern left, the reactionary post-liberals, and every faction in between are effectively like the churches of the past, with both a worldview and a doctrine that its followers have to adhere to, and a goal to capture and control the politics of the country and dictate its policies. This means that, just like several hundred years ago, the West is now on the brink of permanently heightened conflict and repeated tragedies, unless something is done to stop the culture wars in its tracks. The answer, I believe, is to extend the classical liberal model of religious neutrality to other areas of life and culture generally. Rather than just being neutral about religion in a narrow sense, the state should be neutral about competing moral claims as much as possible. It should allow individuals, families, and communities to preach and practice their sincerely held moral values, as long as it doesn't take away from the freedom of other individuals, families, and communities to do the same. Competing moral worldviews can then truly compete in the marketplace of ideas, with their success or failure ultimately judged by the objective reality of the long-term outcomes of their adherents. This is what moral libertarianism is in a nutshell. When everyone can do their own thing, and they can be confident that in the future, should their views be correct, they will be rewarded by objective reality, there will be no need for the culture wars at all.